true, false, not given, and yes, no, not given. These questions are quite challenging, but you have to answer them in each IELTS reading test. So let's talk about how you can answer these questions faster and get a higher score. And for your practice, we're going to start with the standard level of difficulty and go all the way up to the most challenging IELTS reading questions because you need to know how to answer those too. It's Asia. Let's get started. Let's start with some quick and easy wins. The task reads, do the following statements agree with the information given in the passage? Answer, true, false, not given. So which answer formats are acceptable? You can write your answers in capital letters like in the task, or in small letters, or capitalize the first letter. Or actually, you can just write the first letter, T, F, and G. But there is another type of task, yes, no, not given, which is very similar. What if you mix up the two and you answer yes instead of true? Well, I found the official confirmation that this answer will be marked as correct. So if the answer is true, you can say true, you can say T, you can say yes, you can say Y. I'm gonna link this official video in the description if you'd like to check it out. But now I'd like to show you something. So these are several sets of answers. Have a look at them. Can you spot anything interesting? Well, in all of them, we've used all three options. And indeed, this is the case in all the true, false, not given questions I could find in official practice tests. And I think this is a useful tip, and it actually saved me from making a mistake when I was preparing for this video. I was answering questions, and I noticed that I had 3 false answers in a row. And I started thinking, well, that's not typical, that's weird. And indeed, one of them was true, so I found the missing information, and that tip helped me. Anyways, before you can attempt to answer any question, you need to locate the information in the passage. How can you do that? The very first thing you should know is that answers come in order. You can read the first question, start reading the passage until you find your answer, read the next question, continue reading the passage, and so on. So that saves a lot of time. Keywords can also help you locate the answer. There are 2 types of keywords in IELTS reading. So the first is names, surnames, locations, dates. So those keywords will be repeated in the passage. And if you see the date and you see the date in the passage, so that's where the answer is gonna be. The second type is the main words which determine the answer, the main words in the statement. So those words will be paraphrased. Basically, you can't look for the direct word match between the passage and the statement to tell you if the answer is true or false. No, that information will be paraphrased. Anyways, let's have a look at a real task to see how it works in practice. We have 3 statements and several paragraphs. Let's have a look at those keywords. The first statement is, during the 3rd phase of construction, sandstone slabs were placed in both the outer areas and the middle of the Stonehenge site. Can you see any? Well, the 3rd phase of construction, that's a period. That's our keyword. And I can actually see it here. So our answer is going to be somewhere here. There is another keyword, sandstone slabs. This one may be repeated or paraphrased. In our case, it's repeated. I wanted to show you something. So here we also have that the slabs, or those like big stones, were placed in both the outer areas and the middle of the site. So these words will determine the answer, and they will definitely be paraphrased. Now, the second statement. There is scientific proof that the blue stones stood in the same spot until approximately 1600 BCE. So the first keyword is blue stones. Again, maybe repeated or paraphrased, but the date should be there. And indeed, here is the date. And actually, here are the blue stones. And the third, John Aubrey's claim about Stonehenge was supported by 20th century findings. Can you see keywords? There are two, right? The name and the date. And indeed, I can see the name here, but probably the whole paragraph is about him. But the date is actually at the end, so probably the answer is closer to the end of the paragraph. That's how it works. Let's continue. Once you've located where the answer is, it's a simple matter of deciding whether the answer is true or false or it's not given, right? Well, basically, the difficulty of these questions depends on where you find them in your test. Questions in the first part are easier, and you may often find your answer in a single sentence. In part 2, you may need to read a couple of sentences. In part 3, you may need to read a whole paragraph to really understand what the answer is. And the devil is in the details. You really need to read the statement very carefully, read the passage, the key sentence or sentences, and check that each part of the sentence has the same meaning. Then the answer is true. If there is a direct contradiction, the answer is false. If the passage is talking about this thing in your statement, but you can't say if it's true or false, it's not given. I have more insights for you in this video, many more, but to truly appreciate them, you first need to experience the problem. So let's try to solve several questions together, and then we continue with our strategies. Ready? Starting with the questions you've just seen. Here is our first question. Pause the video now, find the answer, and then resume the video. Ready? So we need to understand whether those slabs or big stones were placed in both the outer areas and the middle of the site. Let's have a look. So slabs were arranged, so instead of placed, we have arranged into an outer crescent or ring. Yes, outer areas. Then we have some extra information we don't really need, and some of them stand tall in the center. Yes, in the middle. The answer is true. Ready to have a look at question number 10? Go ahead and pause the video. Ready to continue? Let's have a look at the statement. There is scientific proof that the blue stones stood in the same spot until approximately our date. So here we can read radiocarbon dating, so that's our scientific proof. It's revealed that work continued until 1600 BCE, with the blue stones in particular being repositioned, moved multiple times. So they didn't stand in the same spot. There is a direct contradiction, and the answer is false. Question number 11. Pause the video now. Ready to continue? So John Aubrey's claim about Stonehenge was supported by the findings. And actually we can read about what the claim was here. John Aubrey made the claim that Stonehenge was the work of Druids, who had important religious, judicial, and political roles in Celtic society. So Druids were Celts. Why is it important? Well, here we have the date. Was his claim supported by the 20th century findings? In the mid-20th century, radiocarbon dating demonstrated that Stonehenge stood more than 1,000 years before the Celts inhabited the region. So, his claim was not supported. It was actually overturned. The answer is false. And as you can see in this question, you really need to read the whole paragraph because you need to understand what the claim was, and it's at the beginning of the paragraph. And you need to understand that Druids are Celts. And again, this information is given in the middle. And then you can understand that the claim was not supported at the end of the paragraph. So just looking for keywords and trying to understand the answer will not work. So how did that go? I find that some students struggle to decide if a statement is true or false because of overthinking. Basically, when deciding if the meaning is the same, they start digging too deep and just get lost. Now, let's talk about yes, no, not given questions, which are very similar. But true, false, not given questions are about facts. So a fact may be true. Yes, no questions are about someone's opinion. We don't want to claim that this opinion is true. Maybe it's not. But is it what this person thinks? Yes. That's why we answer yes and no. In our previous set of practice questions, we took those from part 1, the easiest part. Now let's have a look at some questions from part 2. Ready? Pause the video and find the answer. Ready to see the answer? Well, when you're starting to read a new passage, always check out the title and the subtitle first. That will help you understand what the passage is about and to put your statement into the context. So ours is about making moral decisions. Yes, that's part 2, so we don't have as many dates and surnames to locate those answers. We have to operate using more subtle clues, which are usually paraphrased. So making moral decisions, and here we can read moral guides and gatekeepers. Yeah. And in the end, we might lose our freedom to discriminate in favor of our own communities. So the machines may prevent us from promoting the interests of our communities. To discriminate in favor means to promote. So the answer is yes. Here is the next question. Pause the video now. Ready? This one is about Silicon Police. And the statement says they would need to exist in large numbers in order to be effective. Yes or no? So are we ready for Silicon Police? They might be so good at doing it, we won't notice them. So what's the answer? They might be quite invisible. We won't even know if there are a lot of them or very few. This is an example of the answer not given. Here is the next. Pause the video now. Okay, this one is funny because the answer is in the same sentence as before. So many people are comfortable, they are okay with the prospect of their independence being restricted by machines. And the answer is here. Are we ready for Silicon Police or machines limiting our options or restricting our independence? Few of us are likely to welcome such a future. Few means not Many were not likely to welcome such a future. The answer is no. There is a direct contradiction. Okay, now I've prepared for you 2 special questions that can teach you something very important that a lot of students struggle with. But you have to solve the questions before I tell you what that is. Okay, pause the video, answer both questions, and then resume it. Okay, 27. So people first referred to Leonardo da Vinci as a genius 500 years ago. Yes or no? Okay, the word genius is associated with Leonardo da Vinci. It means, yes, people call him a genius. But what about 500 years ago? Have passed since he died. So we don't know when people called him a genius first. The answer is not given. The current climate crisis is predicted to cause more deaths than the plague. And we can read about the plague here, and it caused 200 million deaths. Terrible. What about the climate crisis? So it's predicted to cause widespread displacement, extinctions, and death. How many? We don't know. So we can't say if this number is likely to be larger or smaller than the plague. Again, the answer is not given. So both answers were not given. I know that those may be particularly difficult to find. And I also know that some people think that, oh, if I can't find the answer at all, it means it's not given. But as you've just seen, it's not quite the case. You should still be able to locate the paragraph, the sentences where the idea from your statement is discussed. But then some key piece of information, like the number, is missing, and you can't say if the statement is true or false, yes or no, so it's not given. And now I'd like to invite you to solve some of the most challenging questions you may find in part 3 of the test. Are you with me? Here is the first question. Pause the video now. And let's have a look at the answer together. So as you can see, this question is right from the end of the test. And as you can see, it's pretty difficult to find any keywords. No names, no dates, no even like a very specific word like bluestones or slabs, which we could look for. So we really have to look for the meaning, and it's definitely gonna be paraphrased. I guess it's a bit easier for you now because I've given you the passage, but here it is. There is something exciting about passing on skills and knowledge you have just mastered or recently acquired. Yes, exactly, the same meaning. Yes. Next, pause the video. And here is the answer. So this one is about the high-achieving students and that they should be prioritized, their goals should be prioritized. But actually, here he says, we need the many to flourish. To flourish is to succeed, to achieve great results, not suffer at the expense of a few bright stars. So bright stars are our high-achieving students. No, they shouldn't be the priority, according to this article. That's why the answer is no. And the last one, pause the video now. Ready? Okay, so this one is about outdoor activities with teachers and classmates, and that they can improve students' outcomes or results, grades in the classroom. And again, It's not very clear where exactly the description is, no strong keywords, but of course the description of the hike is here. Yes, he goes on a hike with his students, a mixed bunch, and they make it together. Does it improve their outcomes in the classroom? We don't know. The answer is not given. That was a lot. Very well done if you're still here. So today you've seen 9 questions. How many could you answer correctly? Let me know in the comments. And if you liked this video, I have similar videos for each type of the reading questions, at least the most challenging, and also listening questions on this YouTube channel, and you can find links to all of them in my IELTS study plan. This is a PDF guide, it's absolutely free to download, and it will give you a plan of how to prepare for your exam. The link is in the video description box below. And thank you so much for watching me today. Good luck with your preparation and your exam. Bye!